This is not just about the Dallas Cowboys of today, and this is not exclusive to the Dallas Cowboys at all, but there is a matter of optics, and the Dallas Cowboys probably should have learned some lessons there by now. I'm Mike Fisher, your trusty and trusted reporter, as we walk through Frisco, home of the Dallas Cowboys. After the Monday night debacle against Houston, two of the Cowboys' biggest stars, CeeDee Lamb and Trayvon Diggs, went out to the club, out to the nightclub. There is nothing wrong with just that. Just like there's nothing wrong with Jerry landing his helicopter on the practice field, like there's nothing just wrong with Micah Parsons' podcast, like there's nothing just wrong with one player arguing with some fan on Twitter, just like there's nothing just wrong with tours of the Star. But there is a cumulative take once all these things do pile up into a mountain. And even if you're not buying my thesis that the Cowboys are sometimes seem like a marketing team that plays football on the side, and that as a result, we've got hashtag 53 brands where Cowboy players don't concern themselves about optics. They have other concerns. They're bigger in the program, as an old Cowboy friend of mine used to say. Bigger in the program. They don't care about the optics. Now, we can debate whether or not they should. In this particular case, this is Trayvon Diggs and CeeDee Lamb, and they go to the nightclub after the Monday night game. There is nothing unusual about a couple of 25-year-old men, or for that matter, a couple of 65-year-old men, after a hard day's work, whether it was a good day or a bad day, maybe even more if it was a bad day, wanting to go out and have a coldie. That is not exclusive to the Cowboys. That happens in, as Barry Switzer once said after the Eric Williams wreck in 1994, this stuff happens in Cincinnati, this stuff happens in New York, and of course Switzer was very frank about, and this stuff also happens in Norman, Oklahoma. Believe me, I know. The question is about optics. The rumor has it, and I frame that very carefully that way, that Trayvon and CeeDee weren't just there to have a coldie, that they also, and I think it's the TMZ got the photos first. It appears as though they're being filmed, and it's being suggested that this is some sort of a music video they're putting together. I'll leave that open-ended. I don't know the answer to that. I've asked a couple places. I haven't got a real good answer there, and I'll continue to try to search for it. So I leave open the possibility that that somebody's got that angle a little bit wrong, but the essence of what we're saying remains true. Now, what's wrong with that? Just this, and we can debate it. I'm not. I don't have some hard and fast rule. And if I was a football team, there's no way I would be able to tell my players. No way I would tell my players. You can only go to the nightclub after we win. Right? You can only have a drink after we win. You can only go chase girls after we win. That's ridiculous. That's not the real world. It's not the real world in my business, not the real world in theirs or yours. But a concern about optics, not just safety. We bring up the Eric Williams thing. Again, Dallas Cowboy players and Cincinnati Bengals players and Minnesota Vikings players have been going out at night, or sometimes in the afternoon and sometimes in the morning, for 60 plus years. That's forever. That's not the Cowboys. That's forever, and that's for everybody. The Cowboys, of course, famously, in terms of the optics of it all, the Eric Williams thing, where one of the great offensive linemen of the time almost died. The players got off the team plane, where back then in 1994, alcohol was allowed and served. It wasn't just allowed. It wasn't just you could bring your flask in your sock. It was served on the team plane. And as longtime Cowboy fans know, the players went to Mirage And somewhere along the path, Eric Williams just about killed himself by crashing into a wall. Was never the same player. And, well, I haven't talked to Eric Williams in a long time. Maybe he isn't quite the same person, for better or for worse. Lucky to be alive. That 7 a.m. thing where Switzer and players are showing up at the hospital at 7 a.m. at Parkland Hospital, just a horrific memory for everybody involved. So it can be Eric Williams in the club, or it can be guys going to the White House. It can be the trouble that Williams and Michael and Alvin Harper and a bunch of other guys found themselves in, all that stuff. It happened a generation before. It happened a generation before that. It happened a generation before that. North Dallas 40 is not fiction. The movie and the book, North Dallas 40, is pretty real life. It was in the 60s and it still is today. It applies to Tony Romo going to Cabo. Just to make sure we understand, this isn't a black-white thing. This isn't a club vacation thing. It's about optics. Tony Romo really damaged his reputation with the Cabo thing. It's a bad idea in terms of optics. The fella's going to the club after getting pounded 34-10 and allegedly still having enough spirit to film, allegedly, rumor, a music video. That's bad optics. There is nothing new under the sun. The Cowboys cannot mandate that guys don't unwind however they want to unwind, as long as they keep it within the law, or at least some fuzzy boundaries of the law. I am not indicting Lamb and Diggs for doing what they did. I understand it. What I would ask if I'm a Cowboy fan, and what I would want the next head coach / vice president of football ops, which is my recommendation, to make sure that these young fellas understand is that behavior matters, culture matters, and optics matter. And of course, with this football team, because Jerry Jones, friend of the show, Jerry Jones, thinks, I'll paraphrase, all optics are good optics. You've got yourself a baked-in problem here. Again, one little issue with the culture over here, one little issue with the optics over there. It can easily be argued the Cowboys have much bigger problems than two-star players going to the club and doing whatever it is they did. It could be argued that the Cowboys have bigger problems than that, or it could be argued that little thing is symptomatic of the big pile of problems. Thank you to BetUS for being a part of what we do here. We invite you not only to hit the like button and to subscribe to what we do, but also to go to betus.com, use promo code 150YouTube, YouTube 150, and that's how you get on and be good with your up to $2,000 investment in your football genius. So go to betus.com and get that done. What we would really want to study, because this would be, to some people, this would be contrary to logic. I think everybody thinks, well, Oklahoma under Barry Switzer, it was the wild, wild west up there. It was guns and it was women and it was drugs. What we'd really have to investigate to understand how this is not a Cowboy phenomenon. Although for 30 years, you've heard it, the criminal Cowboys, right? That goes all the way back to Jimmy Johnson, and goes all the way back to the University of Miami with the Jimmy Johnson thing. It was Notre Dame was the Saints. They were the good guys, and University of Miami was the bad guys. And then of course that extended here to the criminal Cowboys. We have to use the example of Bill Belichick to remind us. Go look it up. Bill Belichick and the Patriots, again, I don't know what you do. They harbored a murderer in their building. Andy Reid and the Chiefs have had about as many problems in the last 2 years as anybody, but they won 2 Super Bowls, so we let it go. Famously in Seattle, Pete Carroll, NFL insiders will whisper this to you. The Seattle Seahawks, over the course of Pete Carroll's time, had as many, quote, bad boys, bad apples, as any team. More than the Cowboys, if you really wanted to add it up. And as many high-profile guys getting in trouble, but they found a way in Seattle to keep it on the down low. So I am not trying to create some citywide attack on these 2 Cowboy players for what they're doing. I do ponder their level of understanding and awareness and optics and culture, and I wonder just how much this locker room cares about any of that. Thank you, BetUS, for what we do here. Thank you for hanging out with us on the Fish Report. Fish out.